Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech and Chill here on FIRSTCLICKS. Obviously today we're talking about the iMac, and this is a review of the iMac before WWDC. I thought it would be interesting to see what I believe to be the best thing about the iMac today and what might change with a next iteration of macOS. Now, in interest of full disclosure, I obviously already used an M1 Mac for about a few months now. I already had the Mac Mini, the M1 Mac Mini, since launch. That being said, obviously there are a few things that are different about the device, the hardware on the device around the M1. Obviously the M1 iMac has a screen on it that you probably won't be able to buy anywhere else. Or anything like it. It also has an insane mic and better speakers than the M1 Mac Mini. So obviously there are some differences, right? And they will change the experience a tiny bit, and it might be something you prefer, or maybe you want to have a standalone desktop with a standalone screen. Anyways, this is the review of the M1 iMac before WWDC. Now, there are a few things that stand out with this iMac, and that is obviously its new design. And the first thing you are probably going to see when you unbox it is the screen and the bezels around it. And I have been saying on this channel that I would hate white bezels on whatever screen possible. And that has changed, actually. I was really wrong about that. I have to say it's still not something that I prefer that much. Although in the setting that it is standing in here right now, right next to a window, especially when the curtains are open, it does blend in better than black bezels. Just when the screen is off and I come down in the morning or I go up at night, it looks kind of weird. It's not something that I am going to get used to anytime soon. But while using the device, and that is obviously the most important thing, I completely forgot about the bezels whatsoever. And I feel like I don't have that with black bezels. So that is something that I prefer about the white bezels. I completely forget that they are there because they blend in with obviously the white bezels around my whatever window. I don't know how to say that in English, to be honest. Are they bezels? I would say bezels. So it blends in a little bit. It feels natural in the setting that I have it in my room. But if you have a really dark setting in your room, it's probably going to be a different story. Now, this is obviously something that you probably already heard from MKBHD and other people that already reviewed this device. It is meant to blend in. Most people have a white wall or a light colored wall, right? So that is the first thing that I have to say after 7 days of using it. Obviously, these bezels have been a controversial topic for a really long time. And yeah, it's quite fine. Now, obviously the screen inside those bezels is probably more important than anything around it. The screen is absolutely amazing. Like I said in my first impression videos, colors are amazing. I like to game on this display, but I also like video editing my thumbnail. It's so much better than, for example, a standalone screen that I had before from LG. It is just that much better. The contrast is so much better. It just feels like a premium display, which is obviously something that you should get for that price. But on the other hand, you're also not able to get a display with this contrast, with this ratio, with this resolution for that price either way. So I'm just gonna say, apart from the glossy finish, that is obviously something that I don't have a lot of problems with the iMac, because the iMac is standing like right in front of the window with its back to the light. But I do notice that that same glossy screen with my iPad that I have right here is having that problem, because it's not sitting with its back to the window. So if you don't have space in your room to put an iMac like with its back to the window, you're probably going to see a lot of those reflections and problems on that screen, which is kind of annoying. But on the other hand, how much does it take you if you spend that much money on iMac to reconfigure your room in a way that you would be able to put that iMac like right against a window? Now, that is obviously important, because having a screen that is so beautiful, you probably want to see it in its full glory. And I have to say, every single time I fire up a game on this thing, it doesn't matter if it's GeForce now. Obviously, if you don't have high speeds on your internet connection, then yeah, you probably want to play games that are right locally on the iMac. But apart from that, like, it doesn't matter what games you play, this screen is going to elevate the way you experience that game. I have to say, I have been playing World of Warcraft on standalone displays. Every single time I was like, I need to edit the settings, I need to edit the contrast inside the actual game, and now it's just perfect. I fire up the game and I see every single color as it is meant to be. Now obviously this is not an OLED or mini or micro LED display. This is LED display. I would say it's a panel that is either IPS or something like that. And that does mean that obviously you're not going to get that pitch black. But to be honest, for the people that are actually going to use this device for light gaming, because I have fixed the settings on this device a little bit, and I will show you more on my gaming channel when that channel is ready. But this device is running games like World of Warcraft on a decent resolution, right? A decent resolution with decent settings. I wouldn't say you're about to play competitive games on this iMac. Maybe Fortnite, if you're willing to accept that you have to fizzle with the settings a little bit. But World of Warcraft, although it doesn't really have that intense first-person shooter accuracy, like obviously the skills that are needed for playing World of Warcraft are a little bit different. But I would still say I get around 30 FPS in the new zones, and that is stuff that it works. And for questing and normal dungeons and stuff that isn't time-based, it's not going to matter that much. But if you are really like an intense WoW player, which I feel like you won't be anywhere near this iMac, but if you are and you're considering this iMac, if you're actually doing Mythic Plus or anything like that, or maybe Fortnite on a professional level, I don't know, I've never played Fortnite, but like if there are like tournaments or stuff like that, it is for casuals, for people who just come home in the weekend or like at night and are like, I'm done talking about anything related to work, I don't really want to see my projects, I don't want to see anything, I have a separate computer right here to browse the web, to watch YouTube videos, to binge watch Netflix, and yeah, to join your friends in a little dungeon or two, or a little random epic battlegrounds, or maybe you have different games that you play, for example Diablo, and like you want to co-op a bunch of missions. That is what you want to do on this iMac. You don't want to do any competitive level gaming, because 30 FPS is going to annoy the living shit out of you, or at least it does out of me. Obviously you can set the settings all the way back to a setting that you won't even be able to recognize a pixel from the other pixel. And then yes, it will go up to 60 FPS. I have to say, in dungeons though, in most dungeons, it does go up to 60 FPS, I'm not gonna lie with you. But when people start to use their spells, it gets really awful. It gets ugly, so I would say stay away from that. But again, casual. This is a iMac, and maybe that's like more for in the conclusion of the actual video. But for now, before like the update that we're going to get probably for macOS, this device is for people who do probably almost everything casually, right? It's not meant for people who do professional grade work or competitive gaming. Now I would say no Mac is doing competitive gaming, but obviously you can imagine that a 32 core GPU is going to get you a long way from this M1. Anyways, this device is just amazing. And I'm saying amazing because of the screen, one, being able to play games and edit videos and do everything you want to do, kind of casual, and also doing it without making a noise. Like I promised to talk about the fan, here we are. This fan is something I can only hear when I look for it. When I actually start searching for that sound, I have to turn off the sound of the game, I have to turn off the sound of every video I'm editing. To be honest, every video you've seen lately from release of this iMac has been edited on this iMac. So apart from one video that's going to come up soon, and it will also be titled something like edited on the iPad. So in interest of full disclosure, that one video is not up yet, but until this video, every single video has been edited from the iMac, from release of the iMac obviously. So the 21st of May until now, every single video edited on the iMac. And I haven't heard any sound from this fan. Ever. Obviously when I started searching for it, right? But like normally, while normally using this device, I haven't heard anything. And I'm talking about working with green screens. I'm talking about working with footage, B-roll, 4K footage from the iPhone that is coming in, obviously converted to 1080p. But again, it's coming from the iPhone, 4K HDR. It is really, really amazing, and it doesn't make a sound. And it's also not lagging at all. It is something that obviously it's, again, not made for professional video editing or professional gaming or whatever. But it does everything so well that it could fool you into believing that it is. Like my YouTube channel is obviously quite small and I use 1080p footage. Obviously I film in 4K and then it compresses it to 1080p. Because it might do anything with the footage, it might look a little bit better, or maybe that's just between my ears. It just feels better. Anyways, it's not meant for people that are doing MKBHD level editing, but I have to say, it does everything so well that it can fool you into believing that it can. And that is something that is obviously dangerous, but also it just feels really good. The power of this device feels so good. Now, I have never edited in 8K at all. I've never edited in 8K, and I didn't do it for this video either. I don't have 8K footage anywhere. So I'm gonna have to say no to that. I don't know if it's going to handle that. I have seen videos of people trying to do it, and it handles it. Is it something that you want to do every day? I would say no, but it handles it. And that is stuff that I'm saying, this fan, and this is, I completely love it. I completely love the fan. It is on, it is cooling the device. I can see it's actually cooling the device, and I have the one with 2 fans on it, probably because of the extra core that is enabled in this higher end iMac. But I would say across the board, this is the best fan I have never heard in like a normal work situation in my life, right? It is absolutely cool. And that on top of that display that I was talking about, on top of that M1 performance in gaming, in video editing, in doing whatever you want to do, right? If you're into Netflix binge watching and doing GeForce Now gaming stuff for Xbox Game Pass, then obviously you don't need the M1. But if you're doing local gaming, if you're doing local video editing, photo editing, thumbnails, whatever, this M1 is going to get you through the day like no other computer can, especially not in this thin and light profile. I mean, I can basically use this device as a laptop. I can put it on my lap if I want to. It doesn't feel heavy at all. I have never done it, but I have been moving this device quite a lot to make obviously videos about it, and it's so light. Obviously it is heavier than a MacBook. It's also bigger than a MacBook. I don't know if you guys ever looked at something, you have a can of iced tea, right? And you expect it to be full and it isn't, so you pick it up with full power and you're like, oh shit, it's completely empty. That's how this feels. It feels like it's going to be heavy. Obviously it's thin, but still you're like, wow, this is that light. And I don't really have that experience with most other products anymore, right? The iPhone has been getting heavier, the iPad has been getting heavier, but this device is just, it's phenomenal. I really like it. And I know I sound like a fanboy, but I never expected, and you can look at the footage of videos before the spring-loaded event and after the spring-loaded event. I've been saying this iMac is not going to be for me. I'm going to try it, probably going to send it back, and here we are. It's still here. So I'm just saying, man. I don't know what to say. I'm not fanboying on this device. I literally thought I would hate it, and I don't. I don't hate it at all, and that it's absolutely mind-blowing for me. Now, obviously, most of the power of the M1 chip is already known, so I'm not going to go back into that. I'm just going to say the overall package is just something that's complete. It's a complete package, I'm not going to lie with you. Touch ID, obviously the accessories that we have to talk about. Touch ID is phenomenal. We all know what Touch ID is, so I don't know if I have to go into a deep dive with this, but in this keyboard, it works tremendously. And I absolutely love the fact that this keyboard now has apparently enough security features to unlock a Mac securely. There's one thing, one complaint. One thing that I feel like it's missing a little bit, and that is Face ID. And I understand it does take Apple sometimes a longer time to adopt these type of technologies and features in the Mac lineup. A lot of people are saying they would buy this for the family, for their mom, from their grandma, from their grandpa, for their dad, people that are not into tech but do want to have a computer and forget about it, right? And what is better than having a computer and forget about it than sitting in front of it and it unlocks, and if you're done with it, you move away, you lock it, your wife or your mom then, like if you buy it for your family, your mom comes in and she sits in front of the Mac and it automatically recognizes that this is a different person and locks your mom in to her own account. That is the ultimate way of forgetting about this being a computer. Now obviously it's not that much different than putting a different finger on Touch ID and then logging in to a different account, obviously. But having to teach my grandma that she has to lay her finger down on that button, it's technically harder. Although she's obviously going to understand it in one time or maybe even 2 times, I don't know, of saying it. But it's still harder than just saying sit in front of the Mac and it will recognize your face. Done, right? That's just, it's normal. It's natural behavior. That's stuff that you do with humans as well, right? They see you, they recognize you, and they act accordingly. That's how it works. And if the computer can work in the exact same way, That's way better. And I understand that this Mac is made for that type of experience. To completely forget that you have a computer. What is a computer? It doesn't exist. That is obviously what the ad was about. I know a lot of people are memeing on it and trying to say that obviously the iPad is now a replacement for a computer. It always is a computer. Like, the iPad is a computer, the Mac is a computer, the iPhone is a computer, my Apple Watch is a computer, and yes, your AirPods are computers as well. Listen, it's meant to be something that doesn't seem like a computer. It is meant to be a friendly face. It's meant to be something that you can forget that you have a computer and that you need a computer. For the next 5 years, if you buy this for your mom or for your dad or for both, they probably, if they're not into tech, are going to be completely satisfied with this computer for the next 3 to 5 years, especially if they're just web browsing, doing some Netflix, doing some reporting on, I don't know, school reports from your brothers. I don't know what they have to do, but if it's not professional grade video editing that your mom or your dad or your grandma or your grandpa is doing, this device is absolutely amazing. And if it is something you're doing and you're waiting for the MacBook Pro that is hopefully going to be announced at WWDC, I completely understand that as well. But I am still going to keep this device because I need a device that is just separate from all that. Yes, I need one big pro creative device with an M1X in it. And that is definitely going to be a MacBook because I need to keep it with me, like, on the road. And if that thing has a 30-core GPU in it, man, I am saddled. But this device, if I come home, I put that MacBook away, I'm gonna sit in front of it and casually do whatever I want to do. Man, I believe that this device is going to be the iMac for a really long time. Maybe it's going to get even better after WWDC, so we are going to make another review of this iMac, obviously with beta versions of the new macOS, if there is going to be a new macOS. Obviously there is, right? But I have this guy at KBHD in the next door, and if I say confirmed, I am Hey, Marques, no! I was whispering, Marques. I was whispering. I'm sorry, Marques. No, sorry. No, wait, Marques, wait. No.